All right, good afternoon, everyone. All right, here we are. Everybody's doing well. Just heads up, quick disclaimer. My system is getting a lot of information going through here. So if the stream starts getting choppy, just let me know. I'll start closing things out. But I mean, what can you do when the VIX is at like 45? So that is to be expected. I did close out some other stuff. But anyways, let's get into it here. Trillions wiped away here on a Friday. And Powell not saving the market. Trump definitely not saving the market. And figured it'd just be a good day to do a little stream here as we can kind of cover into the close. Not that it really matters at this point, into the close. You know, it's not like it's not like the analysis is gonna change, but maybe we'll be lucky enough to catch a circuit breaker. We got an hour left. It is power hour. Qs are sitting at 5.85. Spiders 5.62. So we could catch a circuit breaker if they slam this into the end of the day. It's been a wild day here, definitely one I will not forget. And I'll just go over kind of like what I'm looking at. I'll go over my day first here. You guys let me know if you did anything today. If you made money in the trading room, let me know about that too. But yeah, this morning I was just like, yeah, you know, I'll probably take one trade. You know, if we get a quick move in the morning, you know, that will be it. But we actually had one of our best days in a long time. And, you know, just kind of expecting, hey, if we can make one, you know, quick buck here, I'll be happy. But we had our, you know, my system triggered a couple of them. One was right here on the reclaim of 52.50. Made 25 points in like a couple minutes, and then we left the runners here. And we got a little bit of a rollover towards the open. I think we took like a 1 point gain on the actual tiny runner, but it was like 25 and then 47 points and then a runner. And right here, when we had this bounce on the open, let me just go to SPY. Just as like, this is just kind of an experience thing. I'll tell you guys about it though. I'll never do this again. Well, maybe not never, but you'll almost never see me. I told the chat like screenshot this because you're not going to see me do it again. But I went short like right in this area here. Yeah, into the hole. But it's kind of an experience thing. I could see what was happening. Very clear here at this point. When you have a sell this deep here and everyone's still looking for that low, any green is, everybody's going to jump in. And I think that's what happened there. It's what happened here. We bounced into Powell. We did catch a nice, we covered, you know, into the lows here, our last runner, and we did catch a nice long scalp. Actually, it was on ES, not, oh no, it was SPX, I'm sorry. We caught the August low, we pierced that, and here's you know, another little thing to look for on an intraday. If you look at like the 5 minute, you see how it's kind of in a nice tight channel here, right? Nice straight line, and then what happens there? The bottom falls out. That's some capitulation. Somebody got run over. Somebody, you know, panicked, and then right into that August low. You see the rebound, cover short, went long on the reclaim, and you know, made a nice chunk there. Then of course we bounced into Powell. You know what that means, right? He's not going to save the market today. You know, I mean, this right here, honestly, this gap down yesterday should have been a clear sign to just go short, like even into the hole. When you have a breakaway gap like that after a bounce, it's just going to go lower. So, you know, I thought of that yesterday, kind of like after the fact. So yeah, that was kind of easy. But nonetheless, it was a great day. I mean, we had like, I think 50 points or more on at least each runner we took. So fast market, got to size down a little bit, but it's been, when the market's like unadulterated like this, man, it's really nice to trade. No dealers, no gamma boys. I just don't even, I mean, like I have the gamma up, but I don't even care. I don't even care what the gamma's doing. They're just gonna run through that. So, in fact, let me see, just for fun. I haven't even looked at it. But we'll see. I know there's a lot at 510, but that's been run past by now. Yeah, so 510 LG1 and then 490. Well, this would be a circuit breaker. So if we go there, that's circuit broken. I think right now the circuit breaker would be about, we're almost there, it would be about 5, like 50.15 or so. So yeah, what do I think here? I think we're going to see some capitulation pretty soon, but that can always overshoot. There's one level, I'll just share this with you guys because it doesn't matter. There was one level we were looking for to at least get hit, and that did today. I said 51.50 to 25, and the reason for that is you can easily see the bull market low 2022, Fib 382, August low, and then measured move from the high to the low here. Just add that on, and that did get hit. Now we're overshooting. That's normal. We have margin calls going on. There's forced liquidations. So that is, don't ever rely on fibs or measured moves alone when you're in this environment. This is, make no mistake, this is a historic. We see this once every decade. We've seen it twice now with CVID, but and then since then, like 08, maybe you could say Volmageddon was the last time it was like that unhinged. I mean, August, that's nothing compared to what's going on here. That was over like really quickly. And we still had a pretty steep dispersion trade there. Don't really have that here. But you look for that overshoot. That said, I mean, I think it's a good area to like pick at, just a little pick at quality names. Not, the jump, no PayPal, right? No Carvana, even though we love Carvana. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Exxon, quality companies, or just pick at the spiders. That said, we can still go lower, right? We could still go lower, and I still think we're in an environment here where the first as soon as we have a green day, everybody's going to jump in long, and I think that's why you get those secondary kind of moves. Now, if you're looking at this trend line here, it's at 5K. Whole round number, so we could go down and hit that. Right, we could easily go down and hit that. There's another level I'm watching too, and it's it's right there. Sorry, we have to go back even farther. Like 2 days ago, this wasn't a thing, but right, take the pandemic low, right in that vicinity. I think that's very good. You got a 50% fib here, previous all-time high too. If we got there like Monday or Tuesday, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I don't think it's going to be that easy, right? There's always going to be some shaking and baking, but I think now is the time to start inching in unlevered positions. So we'll see what happens here. Tariffs, does it really matter at this point? We're just like slicing down on. The market's trying to discount that. And a lot of the time what happens is it'll overcorrect and over discount. And we were just getting that good margin washout. We saw the dollar again yesterday. Carry trade, hey, it's coming back green. So that's a positive. Another thing I find very interesting right now is the Russell is down less. That wasn't the case this morning. It's down less than the spiders and the Qs. And if this would change that algo, we could look at the Dow, but I'll do it this way. Yeah, it's almost down less than a Dow. And let's say we get a little relief pop into the close here, like even if it's the last 15 minutes. I mean, if you get a tail candle on the IWM, that's going to look way better than what SPY looks like, or QQQ, or even the diamond for that matter. Curious. Dow Transport's also way off the low. Remember, they tend to lead. We got kind of I wouldn't call it a false signal. It was something we were watching, but the transports made that higher high where the spiders didn't. But notice how the Russell and the transports are off the lows here already. Again, doesn't mean we won't go lower, but if that continues and the spiders continue down, just keep that in the back of your mind. What else can we talk about? Powell doesn't know what he's talking about. Actually, he does, but it's just coach speak. So when he says that we had jobs this morning, which you gotta love these Ponzi numbers, right? 228,000. Like, it's almost like, so, when they cooked the books for the election, I said, like, guys, do not get short in front of this jobs data, whatever it was here. it was right before it was the month before the election. I was like, do not be short for that. It's going to be the fakest number you've ever seen. And it was like 330,000 versus like 120 expected. Like they're going to Ponzi that number, right? It's almost as if they're Ponziing it the opposite way. Like they want higher jobs so that they can essentially say that Powell is going to kind of stand pat, and then that causes the market to go down more, which then causes yields to go up anyway, or excuse me, yields to go down anyway, because that's Trump's endgame. But Powell's not paying attention, or if he is, he's just talking out the side of his mouth. The 2-year here, it did finish off the lows. It's about to finish off the lows, but spiked an important level, and if that breaks below that, Powell's cutting. Don't listen to him. We could talk about data. We could talk about jobs. We could talk about the and by the way, more full-time jobs were created too, for once. But we can talk about the PCE, all that stuff, whatever. If this goes down, they're cutting. You don't need to be an economist. All you gotta do is look at the 2-year. 210 spreads, down today, but still well positive. 3-month 10-year back to inverted though. So just kind of going over a couple of things here. I'm not going to cover everything that we go over in the daily video. I do think this overshoot on IWM is interesting on this trend line though. So maybe we can get to 170, we'll see. But quickly look at XHB is green. Interesting. YNQ getting hit. XLP, big outside move down. So finally capitulation in the defensives. That's usually a good sign. I see you crypto hawk, you're in there. And you talk about this in the room. When the Dow starts capitulating and the defensives capitulate, it usually means that everybody's giving up, even on the hiding spots. Believe it or not, that's actually good to see if we're looking for a low. So we had that. IGV just getting smoked here. That weekly support is not holding. Market's too weak. SMH I still really like down here. And I have accumulated a small position in this. Again, small. What else? Banks getting hit. Big outside move on XLF, obviously. Was holding up for a while, but looking like 42 might be a spot there. KRE down another 4 1/4, 4 1/3. Nicely off the lows though. Look at these Bollinger Bands. I was talking about this earlier. Look at this. This didn't even happen during the pandemic. Right? I mean, it pretty much just sat on the Bollinger Band the whole way, except for that one day right there. And even there, it like came back up by the end of the day. This is just like way outside. So we're multiple standard deviations away here. Gold getting hit. Again, this will sell to cover margin. Silver getting destroyed. $35 to silver is what, 2100 gold. Or 2100 was the gold, I think. Once it gets through there, it's going to go a lot higher, but yeah, in the meantime, it's a hell of a lot of supply there. Platinum and palladium also down, of course. And then look at copper here. This is a ridiculous chart. I wish I just, sure, yeah, like it was an easy double top, but sometimes it's like, it's almost like it's too obvious. Maybe if it pushed to like 545, it would have been a little bit better, but, or if you got that kind of like secondary peak like I was talking about, but look at that. I would not have predicted this much of a downside. And it topped on the day that they announced tariffs on it too. Lastly, real quick, again, we're just going to blow through it so we can get to questions here. But Bitcoin's green. So you guys can tell me in the comments what that means, because I have no idea. Even Dogecoin's green. By the way, you know what else is green? GameStop. I mentioned this yesterday, and I think the day before, like oftentimes you'll see really poor companies, heavily shorted companies, all of a sudden outperform in a crash scenario because they're crowded shorts, and those funds that are getting margin called will cover those shorts to pay for their maintenance. But Yeah, GME and Doge, the safe havens. So market getting a little bounce here. We'll see where, I'm very interested to see where IWM closed today. But anyway, let's get into questions here. This is fun. Good day. Shaz saying this is worse, looking worse than at 2022. Yes and no. It's definitely worse in terms of speed and depth, but I think speed and depth usually, like when you see the crash is usually the end, right? Markets don't crash and then start a bear market. They start a bear market, then they crash. So I think I still think my theory, and even like right here, like, hey, had a really good slice, but look at the bounce after that, and then look at the rebound after that. That's why I couldn't short this whole way down, because I needed to see like an actual, not no lousy 2-3 day bounce. I mean, like I wanted to see like shorts get scared. I want shorts to be questioning their own thesis. Remember when we were short here, we had that secondary pop, and even I was like, oh, are they going to take it up? But we held on, and it ended up being a great trade. When I went short up here, it was scary. But I was looking for some sort of rebound here. But that said, yeah, it's worse in terms of speed and depth, but I think it'll be over faster. And I still think by the end of the year, this will look like a big fat barcode. But we'll see. Yeah, you say, yeah, JEPI or JETQ, yeah. GPIQ. If that thesis plays out, I mean, it could be quite lucrative. Those dividends are fat. We also hit the quarterly expected move today, and we blew through the JPM put wall in what was end of quarter, Monday. There, it was end of quarter was Monday, and we blew through. So JPM roll 52.90. It's already in the money. One thing I'll say too, I don't think Frank's in here, but if you guys are in the room, you know Frank. We were talking about this a week ago. The reason why we sold so hard here, I think, part of the reason, and why we sold so hard on that day, is because we hit the quarterly expected move for quarter one in December. So there was so much time left on the clock that they had to push it off of this. If we hit that at the end, like let's say we just did this, and then we went up there at the end of quarter, they wouldn't have done that. But now we're hitting the quarterly expected move on the bottom side in the first 5 days of the quarter. So do what you will with that information. Yeah, no problem. It was good. I would have been happy with one little trade today, but definitely worked out. This is one of those situations where, once you see what's happening, it's like, okay, now I know what's going on. This market's been tricky. If you're making money in this market, you're doing really good. It's not on easy mode. It's on extreme difficulty. Don't let the people who are screenshotting gains like tell you anything otherwise. And I said this yesterday too. If you went short up here into that announcement yesterday, like not to be harsh, but like unless it was a lotto or something like that, you're going to give it all back eventually. Like that is not this is something you want to be in cash for, because it just as easily could have gone the complete other way. I don't think just from experience, taking big swings like that into that, it's not going to teach you good habits, and it honestly would be better if you lost money on that. But again, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but yeah, Bitcoin holding up. Lots of puts, yeah. Yeah, 6 cents, and that's with volatility as high as it is too. I was surprised at how well SPY options were moving today with the IV. In fact, that was probably a signal that we weren't going to put in a bottom, because if we were, the IVs would have gotten crushed on those options. So nice job on those puts. Okay, so you guys are asking me about Bitcoin too. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is it's about to be a massive laggard bear, like they're just going to barf it over the weekend, or it's telling us that this sell is just margin wipeout and it's not systemic, which would be counter to what everyone else is saying. You never know. I mean, yeah, it's possible. I don't think we're going that low. If we do, I mean, it'll be after a 1,000, you know, 500 point rally easily. Like we'll see 550, 560 before we see that. But yeah, like what one of the things I said first thing in the morning, I was like, don't front run buys, and don't trust the Gamma Boys today. Like I don't care how good your level is, just don't like wait for the pierce and then a reclaim if you want to play longs, and that was, you know, that was the right way to play it. Or if you are going to buy, you know, long-term positions, nibble, that's fine, but don't be going all in. I think we'll probably dip into the final hour. I was kind of thinking we would, when we bought them here, we would just go sideways into 330, but we kind of already made a new low, so we might see a little short covering pop at the end, but again, I don't think there's as many shorts in this as people think, or even I thought originally. I think there will be very soon though, but and it's not of much consequence here, honestly. It's not like it's going to get saved in the next 30 minutes. Just send me a Hawk. Just send me a DM on Discord. Yeah, I mean it's like Volmageddon, you know. Like that's the only other thing. Yeah, 2018, 2020. It's not as crazy as the flash crash, but it's definitely up there. Okay, Bessent's running his mouth. Yeah, I didn't like what he said yesterday. I mean, like, it's kind of a. I get what he was trying to say, but, you know, there's people who are trying to retire this year. You could just word it differently. AMD, Iggy saying AMD's been a dog. I know, everybody keeps trying to get the bottom. I think it's finally attractive enough now. They've been trying to get the bottom in this for a while. Come on. That's probably why it hasn't bottomed. This not bad level here. But if you're gonna take it, I mean, again, you got to nibble here. This is where it broke out of in 2022. There should be buyers sitting there. I would rather buy this than like an Nvidia, because at least this is dirt cheap at this point. Broadcom's a company I would buy because their CEO knows what he's doing. But yeah, and I mean, like now these chips are looking a lot more reasonable, aren't they? I mean, half a year ago or a year ago, there's ASML. Um, Not a bad level here in TSM. Micron, look how like Micron's gotten destroyed here, and their earnings were all right too. But we're finally start seeing seeing the market price this in a little bit. Um, Ryan asking about silver 27. Yeah, probably. Yeah, for physical. I think we still have a lot of time. Here's the one thing I'll say. I'll give it an outlier chance that silver can still hit 38 like soon. I would have liked it a lot better if we didn't just do this on the weekly. Like if we closed the week at like 31.75, it would have felt a lot better. But there's plenty of time in the month for this to bounce. Let's say you close the month right back above, let's just say 31.70 at that low. All of a sudden, it doesn't look as bad. That said, I kind of have it topping out by mid-April, so I don't know if it's going to happen. Like, this might just be too much damage here. So I'm thinking consolidation for the metals. I'm mad GLD didn't get to, it got to 290 pre-market. And I gave that level out on here too, 292, but it happened overnight, so I didn't play it. If it happened during market hours, I would have taken a short um, with the intention of it being a day trade, and then I would have just held a runner. But, it still might do some secondary peak thing though. Never know. Ashton, so awesome question. So Ashton's saying, how do you give it all back if you bought 40 SPX calls at end of day when some sold? Because, and I'm not like trying to say this to shoot on anybody, but like that could have gone terribly wrong. And it obviously worked out, but in my opinion, in my view, I think having like discipline to just engage in good habits is as important as making money. In fact, that's what will make you money. So like I don't want someone to think that okay, that worked. Now I'm going to do it next time, right? What if Trump walked it all back and we went up to 59? Like that was a real scenario. So what I'm saying is that there's a next time, and the more that like all in mentality works out, the more you're going to go all in. And if you turn 20,000 into 100,000, and the next time you go 100,000 and then you lose it all, I'd rather lose the 20,000 and then have it be wrong than have 100,000. And does that make sense? Like you're like not going to learn the restraint is what I'm saying. I don't know how much. Maybe 40 calls is nothing for you. If that's the case, then that's fine. If it's not a big position, or if the risk is managed right, I should word it that way. As long as you manage the risk and you knew the risk, that's fine. But like when the people are like, oh, I went all in on before this, and I made all this money. Like that's what I don't like. I don't mind if you bought like a like a modest position. That's different. But and I'm just speaking from experience. So, and again, don't take it like I'm shooting on you or anything. Obviously, excellent trade, absolutely killed it. But these things kind of tend to come back if you don't, you know, practice the right habits. That's all. Jason saying not stonks. Yeah, absolutely not stonks. Das saying, what do you mean there's less shorts than you thought? Well, I think if there was a lot of shorts, we wouldn't have done this. And what we saw this morning, if there was a lot of shorts, we probably would have just V-shaped right off the open, or we would have V-shaped right here on Powell, then pulled back and then gone up. So I think the way that this is going to bottom is it'll hit the low, it'll bottom, it'll pull back. Everyone will go short on that for that pullback, and that's where you'll see the real action come in to the upside. Oh, Cash Secure puts an AMD. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're protecting it, it's a good name, a good quality name. And AMD has a history of lagging and then catching up in a big way. Yeah, Dave saying crazy how Bitcoin is up despite this. I'm still waiting that somebody can give me an explanation for that because I can't. Got EG saying bonds. Yeah, bonds are, that's one thing too is this should be up a lot more. I think Shapiro, if you guys follow Jason Shapiro, I think he's right. This should be up a lot more right now, and that's a concern. It is up though. Maybe it's just telling us that this isn't that bad and it's just margin washout like last time. But it's good to see it green though. You don't want this red. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like home run trades rarely work out, and if they do, it's almost worse because it's like I'd rather I'd rather lose it all from like 20,000 or whatever than win a bunch of them. You have $1 million and then lose $1 million. But again, I'm not trying to like harp on anybody, but I'm just saying. Again, if it's a small, if the position's manageable, like 2 to 5% or whatever. But I see people talking about like, oh, I went all in on. That's really kind of more what I was talking about. Like, oh, I went all in on puts. And then the other thing too is with options, you can't get out of it overnight. So there's that. I don't think it's necessarily a bottom for AMD. I just think it's attractive enough to like if you have a if you want to pick up a quality name, like it's at least attractive enough now. If you're looking to like buy and hold some. I wouldn't just buy it blindly here as a swing or anything though. Also, saying, what is S&P going to be in 2030? If it's 7,000 and buying here with me 40% prop. Honestly, yeah, if that's your strategy, like I don't think this is necessarily like a start of a bear. I know a lot of people do, but like I was saying earlier, I think at the end of the year, this will just be a barcode. I think this is more of a consolidation year. And even if it does go lower, all right, well, then you buy it at 4,500 and it goes to 7,000. I still think that's intact. Yep, IWM's held up. I mean, IWM is now the leading index. The market closed right now, IWM would be down less than both the Dow, S&P, and Qs. And the transport's only down 2.5 too. Usually, though, these signals they lead by a few days at least. So I'm not saying like go all in right now, but watch that. If that continues, make note of that. Pat saying could be IBIT. I don't think it. Maybe it is, but IBIT gamma pinning. I think the gamma boys have no control right now. I said in the beginning of the morning in the trading room, I was like, I'll put the stream up, guys, but don't trust the gamma boys today. Like when there's this much volatility and volume, they can just blow right through. Like the gamma boys have no control right now because like all these hedge funds and family offices are all in the same trade, and if they're all blowing up at the same time, they'll just like market makers ain't gonna stop it. But I mean, it does look like it's pinned. It does look like it's pinned, doesn't it? Let me see if there's just for fun. Yeah, it looks like 48 and 50 are kind of like spot dealer levels on IBIT. Those are calls, and then the bottom would be 40, 46.50. I mean, it's in range, but I just can't imagine that. Like, if things are liquidating this bad, you'd think Bitcoin would liquidate too. Like, dealers would just be forced to hedge down. I count the first one, Ryan. So 1, 2, 3 when I do it. So yeah, it would be 3 to me. Yeah, B double saying so wild this down day we hit bear market in IWM and QQ in 2 days. I remember like literally 2 days ago nobody was talking, not nobody, but like there was nobody mentioning 510, 500. Now like as of last night everybody was talking about it even before we dumped out. So I definitely think people are starting to get quite bearish, but it does take some time. But yeah, new bear market technically in Qs. Non-miss saying is nat gas ready for a crash? It's nat gas, so it could, but this weekly chart's still pretty tight. Definitely, you don't want to see that candle there. on the daily. But if this holds up in this range a little bit longer, it's ready to pop. But I would still say this weekly structure is still bullish. Got the nice inside bar. But yeah, I would say keep an eye on it. If it loses that, yeah, it could come down hard. It's not gas, so we'll see. Been immune to the tariff talk though. Josh James, SPY looking to retest breakout 2022 highs. It's possible. I mean, it's not that far off. Sometimes though, one thing I've learned is you don't want to wait for the pierce. You could get a pierce, but I notice a lot of the time it'll just come up a little short, like ES. If you look, or sorry, NQ. This might be different because of the adjustment. Let me think. Here's an example. So we take the low in 2022 and you go to QQQ. Notice how it got like so close to the 382 and the 200 moving average and then it just took off. So sometimes those back tests will like be a back test, but it won't actually touch. And you gotta remember, we're already ridiculously overdone here in at least in the near term. Look at the BB there. So it might come up a little short, or it could pierce, but just be ready for those scenarios. That's why I say it's always good to just like get a foot in the door with a starter position at least. Is MicroStrategy still in IWM? I don't think it is anymore. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I thought it was out. I thought they took it out finally. Yeah, maybe Larry. You haven't seen much flow in IBT. Maybe Larry Fink's holding it up. He told everybody not to touch it. I got to let my calls expire first. Yeah, I think it'll be a laggard bear, like a Palantir here. Some of these stocks that held up well could be laggard bears. Maybe a head and shoulder there triggered on Palantir too. But yeah, I have a feeling if they're going to do it, they'll do it over the weekend. Then Coinbase will shut down miraculously. It'll sell off 20%. It'll rebound 15%. Then Coinbase will reopen up after it's already rebounded, so you can't buy the dip. And now you're stuck in your longs, and there's nothing you can do. So that's my prediction if there is one. Well, Pat, I don't know if you noticed, but GME is a better risk-off asset than both of them, and Dogecoin's up 6% too. So that's the real risk asset. Trump was okay. Trump talking. Do you guys hear what he said earlier? I almost like lost my mind like right before the market opened. We tweeted that video that said like Trump is purposely crashing the stock market. Like I know he didn't technically say it, it's not his words, but like dude, like you are like this close. Like without context, the president purposely wants to crash our financial markets. That sounds like treason. I was like, dude, I can't believe like you can't word it like that, dude. Just the fact that you retweeted a TikTok is enough there. Yeah, KRE got nice tail. I think there was a level here I looked at yesterday. Yep, there's a 618. That's holding. There's a lot of buyers right here too. You just got to be careful. And there's margin wipeout. Things can just overshoot, but yeah, it's a good tail. I'm kind of leaning towards more blood on Monday. If we gap up And now that you mention it, I almost feel like we should gap up just because that would be the hardest thing to break down. It would be the hardest thing to analyze. If we gap down and go, like, that's easy, honestly. But I don't think the downside's necessarily done. And what annoys me is that we closed massively green on Wednesday, but then ES closed massively red. So you got the 3 black crows set up here, but not on the SPY or the SPX. But I would say, don't worry about trying to catch the exact low. Like, if there's a low in place, there will be a steep retrace for you to catch too. But we're getting a little bounce here off the lows. If there was any sort of like real relief here, this would have started like an hour and a half ago, so I wouldn't make too much out of it. But you also got to figure Asia, like there could be margin calls in Hang Seng on Sunday night. Trump could make something up over the weekend. Putin could say something at this point. Europe could cook something up. Got Besant. It sucks if we don't have Yellen. We don't have the Best Buy signal. We don't have Yellen to get concerned, so we don't have that. Yeah, I figured it'd be good to go live here today. So glad you're here. Do I still expect new highs here? I wouldn't rule it out. Because the upper bound of the expected move is it's at all-time highs. And if we hit the lower expected move in 5 days, it's definitely possible. We definitely went lower than I thought we would, though. That said, it's definitely possible, but my base case has always kind of been if we didn't blow off here, like have a blow off move, we would go down and then grind up to like a nominal new high, like at most, and then we would have another like pretty big drop later in the year. So I wouldn't rule it out, and the reason why I wouldn't rule it out is because if enough people get bearish on recession and stuff, they'll just short every rip on the way up and it'll just keep going up. But once I see the low, I have a better answer. But I do think we'll probably at least retrace to 580, 590, which from here is pretty damn good. Yeah, it's interesting. It shows it it's still in IWM on this though, which is it's not in it though, but they haven't updated it on here because they're stupid. Yeah, VW was saying short VIX spread. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's easier, believe it or not, it's easier to short vol than just to like buy the bottom, because vol will top before the market bottoms. And like as long as you're not a dummy and you like don't go like a week out, it'll work. Just make sure you take profits on the way down. Don't get too greedy with it. Yeah, no PPT right now. At least until the Fed hits their put, really. Max Payne. Yeah, that was good. I'm pretty sure Trump did that on purpose. Put tariffs on an island that has no inhabitants. Yeah, they can and look at XHB, like, yeah. So I mean the 2-year did rally, the 2-year yield did rally on Powell's comments, so the bond sold up, but I think it's just because it went up into supply. But yeah, if the 2-year rallies, they can PPT. Yeah, Powell can say the economy is strong all he wants, but he'll do what this says. Yeah, the Penguins can afford the tariffs. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap up here. I still gotta do the Wall Street for Main Street video. I don't even know if I'm gonna do it tonight. We'll see. But yeah, awesome. Not awesome day for stonks, but very eventful. I'm very interested to see. Watch where IWM closes. If that closes down less than SPY QQQ, it'd be interesting. And the transport's still kind of hanging in. Energy got destroyed here. Glad I didn't have XLE. I still have my X on, but whatever. They're paying me to own it, so. But we'll see what we get next week. We gap down Monday. I think it's easier. I think somebody said, yeah, a gap up is most painful. Yeah, because it makes it a lot more difficult to analyze for sure. But we'll see what we get Monday. I'll be here. Try to do a Sunday night video too. Does another rate cut get long end to dump again? Ask Infra. I talked to him today too. Maybe. CVX, I don't know. I need to see a little bit more. I do think it could be a buy though at some point. I think energy is, I think that oil actually could surprise a lot of people, but probably into 136 again. I mean, it's in this channel. So, see where it closes the month. Yeah, no problem, guys. That might be a thing, Timber, Ryan. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here again. Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it. Again, got about a week and a half left on, no, 1 week left for the 20% off swing trades, 60% off first month of active trader. Been a lot of fun here lately. Well, last 2 weeks have been stressful, but today was definitely fun. So anyway, I'll wrap up here again. You guys take care. Have a good weekend. Get some rest.